Howdy and happy day. So we have a custom T-bird here, dated 67, blue with the black top. And my apologies for some of the jumps in this video. I'm not a video editor, and I'm doing this from my phone, so that limits the software power that I have. I will try to get that corrected. So here I'm getting rid of the mushroom posts. I'm using a Dremel with the burl tool, which I've only done, this is my second time doing that, and I really wasn't comfortable with it, so I just went back to the old drilling method for the second post. And I need to replace my drill bit. It's absolutely torturous how long it takes to do this. That's coming in the mail. Yeah, just torture. Eventually we'll get that taken care of and apart here in just a second. Voila. So you'll see you might not see it, but there are a couple of nicks on the base there, which I wasn't too happy about. I'm not sure if I'll be doing that Dremel method again. It seems like I can be more careful with the drill bit. So the body looks good, and so does the windshield. It's a little foggy, but that can be taken care of very easily. And the interior is fine as well, just needs a cleaning. So going on to the stripping, using our citrus strip off camera there. I like using the citrus strip. It's less toxic than other strippers out there, and I do this in my spare room, so I don't like fumes filling up my house. And I mean, this is just applying it. There's nothing special I do here. I do realize that I should have gloves on here and pick up an alligator clip. Better than nothing. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Wear gloves. And so after it sat on there for about 20 minutes, totally just wipe it off with a paper towel. That old Spectre flame comes off really easily. Not like the Matchbox scars, which sometimes takes a couple of citrus strippings. It's just beautiful when it wipes off like that. You gotta love it. So after we get it cleaned off, we're gonna wash it with mineral spirits, soap and water, degreaser, and electropolish it. Now I realized when I did this that the anode I had, which was a cheap stainless steel knife I found magnet fishing, I needed to replace. So this was after that first electropolishing, which is, I don't know, had a weird haze on it, not the usual gray haze. Anyway, I ended up doing it again with a new anode, an actual bar of stainless steel rather than some cheap knife. And we're drilling the posts here, as you can see. Just use the screws to tap it with. This one I had to cut in half, almost a little less than half, because the post was so short. It's kind of a judgment call whether or not you use the self-tapping screws. Sometimes the posts just are too thin on the red lines, and there's just no way you'll blow the post, which I have done a couple of times, frustratingly. You don't want to blow a post if you can avoid it. So here we're finally getting around to polishing it after the electropolishing, and we're going to use rubbing compound first, and after we do that and wash it, we're going to use some Mother's aluminum polish, I think. And that stuff works like a champ. It really, really brings out any happy shininess that you want. Oh, and this is my little polishing booth. You'll see I was pointing out the window there. Piece of plastic, Amazon box. I love it because it keeps from getting all that polish all over the place, all over my desk, work area. I never liked that. So I took a cue, I think, from Bare Metal HW. I think he had some sort of a little booth set up and sort of used his idea and made my own. Nothing exciting happening here. I'm just lightly going over it with that rubbing compound. The Dremel I was using had a extension I had bought on it. It was a little small extension. And after finishing the polishing with the mothers, that thing completely busted. It was a cheap, quote unquote, cheap fix for this because the Dremel, I find it just too burdensome to do this little work. It's big and awkward. And that's why I got the extension. Well, because I didn't want to put the money down for a cordless one. Well, guess what? Now I have. So I got a month's worth of work out of that extension for the Dremel, and then it busted. Literally 3 days after the 30-day return period. So go figure, that's the way it goes. All right, it looks better after the rubbing compound, as you can see. I don't think, no, I don't have the polishing. Excuse me. Oh, that's so professional. I don't have the polishing on there. And the painting I did do a couple of coats, one thin one medium one, and this is the thick one I'm putting on here at the end for the wet coat. And I kind of go a little bit too far with it. When it starts looking like this, I just get a little excited and paint. Spray. See, I can't help myself. Definitely don't want to forget the wheel wells. Or sometimes I'll forget the very back hood area and bumper area as well, trunk. And there I am doing the roof. After all, didn't think I would because I'm doing the vinyl top, but there was paint in the pot. So I thought, why not? Ended up with a hole on the left side of the car. Not sure why that happens. I do bake my cars in a little toaster oven I bought for doing just this. 200 degrees for 20 minutes. And then I let it cool off, and we can work with it. In this case, taping it back up so I can paint the top. And I've got the the Red Shop vinyl top paint. This is my first time using it. I really didn't know what to expect. But I really liked it. Had a little trouble with it. There was one area on the roof above the driver that had a weird white sheen to it. I'm not sure what that was. Ultimately, at the end, I got it uniform. And this stuff is super easy to spray. Pardon me. It really surprised me. I wasn't sure what to expect. Super, super easy. And again, just like before, getting overexcited. Just paint, 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 paint. Spray, spray, spray. This is when I'm fussing about that driver's side that's looking off color. Make sure I get all the little corners. There's nothing worse than coming back after you've removed the the tape, and finding something that you've missed. I say there's nothing worse. There are worse things, but that's super frustrating. Taking the tape off is always very scary. So I took it off and I stuck it in the toaster oven while I work on the base. I just wire brushed it. I've dipped these in, because I don't have wheels to replace these ones. In times past, I have dipped it in the electropolisher. The wheels, I don't know, it reacts funny with it. No big deal if you're replacing them, but if you don't have a way to replace them at the moment, I don't know. It's not worth it. I'll just brush it off. I don't have a brass brush. It seems to work fine. So with that done, we are going to move on to the windshield. I wet sanded it with 3000 grit sandpaper, because like I said, it just had a mild haze to it. And then I have this self-polishing floor cleaner. At least I think that's what it is. I couldn't really find the pledge stuff that everybody talks about. So I just went to Kroger and bought some off-brand that I'd never heard of. Not that I buy floor wax very often, but anyway, neither here nor there. We're going to dip it in fully, and then you see I have a little plastic tub with a piece of paper towel at the bottom to wick off any excess that I don't get here as I'm shaking it off. And we have a little cover for it so no dust hopefully gets on it. While that dries, we're going to chrome the wheels. I decided to try a method I hadn't tried before, and I can't say I'm too pleased with the results, but anyway, I used a paintbrush. Normally I just use the pen, not this one, but the 1mm pen. This is the 2mm, I believe. And I just didn't get them as perfect as I like. So once I have the paint in that little cup there, Marty's method, or where I saw it anyway. I mean, it's not the worst job of all, but yeah, I just wasn't super pleased with how it turned out. And once I finish this wheel, I just repeat the process on all the other wheels, trying to get it to what I think. I mean, you know, the paint on these, even original, was not standardized, I guess you could say. In pictures I've seen, it seems that way anyway. So, like I said, once we finish that, we do all the rest of the wheels. And by that time, or the next day, the windshield should be dry. Amazing. So we're going to put it together. We'll save the final reveal here for just a moment. Get the interior in, which we've washed now with soap and water. That's all I did with it. There's nothing more to do with it. My special teeny tiny little screw here, which I'm fiddling with because I was having a hard time with it. Stupid piece of dust, get off my car. And replacing the rear post with a screw. And here we go. She's done. I'm not displeased with how it turned out. The wheels could be better, like I said, and I wish that hole wasn't on the driver's side. That I don't know why with my Spectraflang sometimes that happens. Luckily it's not real noticeable. And from what it came from before, originally, 38 years old, theoretically, not terrible. Thanks for watching, and happy day.